Good morning. Welcome back after yesterday's fruitful day of talks. We have a second day of talks and discussions and a screening relating to the work of Mira Schendel. So I think yesterday was an incredibly good and rich day of presentations and discussions, and I think today we'll build on that in a really substantial way. Yesterday we heard a number of presentations on Schendel's work, which introduced us to aspects of her biography, aspects of her participation in a narrative of exile and immigration to Brazil. We heard about Schendel's relationship to abstraction, and in particular her engagement with the critic and physicist Mario Schoenberg. We heard also about her relationship to language, and her history here connected with London to Signals Gallery and another parallel relationship with the figure of Dom Sylvester Huidard. We also were introduced to her relationship as well with the thinker Wilhelm Flusser. But in addition to that, we heard that she engaged with a number of different thinkers, those whose writings she read, including Husserl and Heidegger, Kierkegaard, Wittgenstein, Bergson and Jung, and then a number of contemporaries with whom she corresponded and also visited and discussed in person issues around her work, including Jean Gebser, Umberto Eco, again Flusser, Hermann Schmitz, Marion Schoenberg, and we also discussed a little bit about her relationship and interest with Zen. And in terms of the thematic range, we touched on issues to do with space, to do with transparency and metaphysics, her engagement with themes of being and the structure of consciousness, to do with time and the body, and also issues to do with faith and religion. So we covered a huge amount of territory in different degrees, and today we're going to hear this morning from three speakers who are going to touch on issues to do with Schendel and pop, Schendel's relevance to contemporary art now, and also approaches to Schendel, curatorial approaches to Schendel. So this is going to add to three new perspectives to the papers that we heard from yesterday. So I'm going to hand over now to Michael Asprey, who's going to introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, Tanya. Welcome, everyone. I would just like to add a few notes on what Tanya has just mentioned in her introduction. And as she said, we had a variety of papers kind of enriching and exemplifying the variety of approaches possible towards Mira Schendel's work. And this morning, we have three speakers whose research doesn't really focus on Mira herself, but in the spirit of this conference as a kind of research in practice being held in advance of the exhibition and therefore potentially enriching the content of that exhibition. So in this spirit, we thought it would be a good idea to invite researchers at doctoral and postdoctoral level to think of Mira Schendel's work in terms of their current research, even though their research doesn't necessarily focus specifically on Mira Schendel. So again, a very experimental approach, but also kind of showing how Mira's work enables this kind of richness and variety of ways in which it can be approached. So our first speaker is Sofia Gotti, who's a PhD student at Chelsea College of Art in collaboration with Tate Modern. She's the recipient of an award by the HRC, and her PhD focuses on pop art in Latin America, whether we can say that as such, whether pop art actually did exist in Latin America or not. That's one of the issues she's looking at. And her research is very much, again, enriching the research process of a forthcoming exhibition at Tate Modern, which will look at pop art in a global context. So Sophia Gotti, so she's working within this kind of very kind of specific context. And looking at the kind of the political and subcultural implications that pop art might imply within the context of Latin America. So, Sophia, please, thank you.